November 1982, in the early morning, inside North Korea's most dangerous political prison, Camp 14, in one of the cruelest jail camps in the world, a woman is screaming loudly. There is no doctor, no specialist, no hospital. Only armed guards are present, and a woman whose stomach is swollen. Finally, after extreme pain and suffering, a child is born. That child is named Shin Dong-hyuk. This is not an ordinary child. Later on, this very child becomes the hero of our story. But here a question arises in the mind. No doctor, no hospital, no compassion? If this woman had been in a hospital, under the supervision of a doctor, the delivery could have happened easily, without torture. So then, why did all this happen inside a prison? The answer, my friends, lies in North Korea's most dangerous and strange rules. In reality, my friends, North Korea has a mind-shaking law, which in the North Korean language is called Yeonjwaje. This means that if you even think against the government, even ask a question, or even think about escaping North Korea, or are suspected of treason, then the punishment is not only for you, but for 3 generations of your family. That means if even your father committed just one of these mistakes and got caught, then not only him, but his children and his grandchildren are sent to prison for life, without any mercy. This is exactly what happened to Jang Hye-gyung, the mother of Shin Dong-hyuk. She herself had committed no crime, but someone in her family had once raised a finger against the North Korean government. Because of this, Shin's mother was sent to prison for life. And when Shin is born inside that prison, his fate is written the same way, to live his entire life inside this jail. This jail was not a place to live. There was no mercy, no love, no humanity. Even a full meal of bread was not available. To survive, people ate frogs, insects, worms, and wild plants from the jungle. And the routine of Camp 14 was daily torture, hanging people on gallows, shooting them with rifles in front of thousands of prisoners. This was the normal routine of Camp 14. While all this is happening, Shin Dong-hyuk turns 6 years old, and guards grab him and send him to school. This is not an ordinary school. Here, children are taught North Korean government propaganda from childhood. They are told that thinking is forbidden, only obedience is allowed. Whatever a guard orders must be followed without question. There are no games, no happiness, no questions in this school. Only fear, discipline, and punishment. If even a small mistake is made, the punishment is beating, hunger, and torture. And if someone sees another person trying to escape and reports it to a guard, they can receive a big reward. From here, Shin's mind slowly gets absorbed into this propaganda. Then one day, between 1988 and 1989, in the morning, inside a school classroom in Camp 14, North Korea, Shin goes to school. All the children are standing in line for inspection. The teacher notices that a boy around 6 or 7 years old has a few crushed corn kernels falling from his clothes. Corn he had secretly kept because of extreme hunger. When the teacher sees this, he becomes extremely angry. His face turns red. The child is terrified. His face turns pale. Then the teacher lifts his stick and strikes the back of the child's head with full force. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and continues beating him in front of the entire classroom until the child dies. All the other children, frozen with fear, sit silently with their eyes down, without saying a word. Shin is also sitting there, silent, watching everything. After seeing all this, Shin is shocked and deeply frightened. That night, Shin goes to sleep. As he lies there, he quietly hears his mother and his brother planning to escape from the camp. For the escape, they had secretly saved some corn and rice to use during the escape. Shin silently watches and listens to all of this. Then a thought comes into Shin's mind. If the guards later find out that he heard all this, he will be killed like that child. But if he tells everything to a guard, he will receive a reward, because this is exactly what the school had taught him. As for the relationship between mother and son, that had already been erased from Shin's mind, because here, emotions were rare and labor was excessive. This was not like normal prisons. Here, prisoners were forced to work 12 to 15 hours a day. If the work was not done properly, the punishment was no food for the entire day, sometimes even for 2 days. When food finally arrived, the mother and son would carry food together. Seeing all this, Shin thought that if he told the guard, maybe he would get more food that day. But the opposite happened. When Shin told everything to the guard still did not fully trust him. He was arrested, put into a secret prison, and brutally tortured. For 6 months, he was asked again and again whether he was also part of the escape plan. Shin kept saying only one thing: "No, no, I was not involved. I only told the guard to receive a reward." But the guards did not believe him. They were convinced that he was also part of the plan. After extreme torture, after 6 months, he was taken out of the secret prison, a place with no proper light, where he had been hung upside down, his head downward, feet upward, and burned over fire. After all this, he could barely walk, his entire body filled with pain and burning. Then some guards arrive and drag him in front of thousands of prisoners. There, he sees his brother and his mother tied to a wooden platform. Thousands of prisoners are forced to watch this. Now there are 2 prisoners accused of crimes and several guards holding rifles. On one side stands Shin, looking at his brother and mother, not with grief or sadness, but with fear. Yes, my friends, with fear. Fear that because of them, he had been tortured and brought here. At that moment, the guards raise their rifles and shoot Shin's brother to death in front of thousands of prisoners. Then his mother is hanged until she dies. Seeing all this, the other prisoners are filled with terror. And this execution is carried out publicly so that it becomes a lesson, and no one ever dares to attempt such an act again. But despite the strict laws of Camp 14, and despite the horrifying torture and fear Shin endured, not just one, many questions shake the mind. How did Shin escape from Camp 14? And escape aside, how did he even come to know that beyond Camp 14 there exists another world where freedom, countries, culture, and human life exist? And then the most heart-shaking question: who was that person who stuck to a 3,000-volt electric fence, burned his entire body, only so that Shin could find a way out? And the most important question of all: why does North Korea have such dangerous and strange rules? What secret is hidden behind them? And not only this, in this documentary, we will share with you even more shocking and mind-blowing facts that will freeze your brain and force you to think.
Well, I was born in a political prison camp in North Korea.
A harrowing escape from North Korea. A young soldier risking his life, driving across the no man's land of the DMZ, crashing his Jeep and making a run for it. You can see him there just yards from the border as his fellow soldiers were firing on him.
Chapter 1: The Price of Blood. When Shin's mother and brother were hanged in front of thousands of people, Shin was only 13 to 14 years old at that time. After that day, Shin was thrown into a different section inside that same jail. But now, even worse treatment was done to him. Guards would tell him, "You are the offspring of a traitor. The same blood runs in your body." Every day, waking up at 4 a.m., then working 15 to 16 hours in coal mines. When work wasn't done right, 2 days of starvation. When even a slight mistake was made, public beating. Beatings in front of everyone. Shin's childhood passed in this kind of life where a human is not considered human, but rather is considered an animal. Chapter 2: A Voice from the Outside World. But then came the period of 2004 to 2005. In this year, a new prisoner came to Camp 14. His name was Park Yong-chol. Now, this person was not an ordinary prisoner, friends. Park had previously had the experience of living in China. He had illegally escaped from North Korea to China several years earlier. There he had seen free life. He had seen restaurants where chicken, pork, rice, and different dishes were freely available. He had seen those people who talked freely, who could go wherever they wanted, who could eat whatever they wished. But later, Park was caught by North Korean agents from China and brought back to North Korea and thrown directly into Camp 14. Now, when Shin and Park's first meeting happened while working in the camp's fields, Park talked to Shin. At first, Shin remained silent, because there was a rule in Camp 14. 2 prisoners are not allowed to talk to each other. If caught, then punishment. But Park slowly befriended Shin. He told him about the outside world. One day, when both were alone, Park said, "Shin, do you know, outside this jail there is a whole world. There people are free. No one beats you. Whatever food you want to eat, you can eat. Wherever you want to go, you can go." Shin was shocked hearing all this for the first time. He thought, is there really something else too? Because Shin had been taught since childhood that Camp 14 was the entire world. It had never even occurred to him that there could be life outside this jail. But Park told him about China. He told him about South Korea. And most of all, he told him about food. Park said, "In China there is something, roasted chicken. Its taste is so good that you'll think this is food from heaven. And pork, mutton, rice with gravy." Shin, who had lived his whole life eating only rotten corn, dead rats, insects, for him all this seemed like a dream. He started meeting Park every day, and now for the first time a thought came to Shin's mind. I want to get out of here. Chapter 3. The Plan of Freedom. Several months passed. Shin and Park talked every day, and then one day Park said to Shin, "Shin, I'm going to escape from here, towards China. If you come with me, we can both escape together." At first, Shin was very scared, because he knew that trying to escape meant death. But then, the taste of that roasted chicken that Park had described came to his mind, and he thought, even staying here I'm dying, every day dying little by little, so then why not try once? And Shin made the decision to escape with Park. January month of 2005. At this time, there is very extreme cold in North Korea. Temperature goes below -20 degrees. At this very time, Shin and Park made their plan. They thought that because of the cold, guards become a bit lazy, and at night visibility is also low, so this is the best time to escape. One night, when the whole camp was a bit quiet, Shin and Park started sneaking out from their section. Both ran towards the fields. They knew that at the camp's boundary there was a high-voltage electric fence installed. This was not an ordinary fence, friends. This was a fence with 3,000 volts of current. If a human touched this fence, their entire body would burn to ash in seconds. In the history of Camp 14, many people had tried to escape through this fence, but all of them either died from the fence's current or guards caught them and killed them. Chapter 4. The Ultimate Sacrifice. Now Shin and Park reached near that fence. There was darkness, there was cold, and there was fear too. Park was ahead. He said, "I'll go first. If I find any gap in the fence, I'll signal you." Shin stood behind watching him. Park picked up a stone and, to test the fence, touched the stone to it. And as soon as the stone touched the fence, boom! A very big electric spark came out. Park's hand came in contact with the fence along with that stone. And the next second, Park's entire body started burning from the electric current. Smoke started coming out from his skin. A loud scream came out from his mouth. But that scream didn't reach the camp's guards because they were very far. Shin, seeing all this, covered his mouth with both hands so that he wouldn't scream too. Tears came to his eyes. He thought, this was a mistake. Now we'll both die. But then, Park, with his burning body, looked towards Shin again. His eyes had become red. His face had burned. But he, with his last strength, shouted to Shin, "Run! Run now! I'll short-circuit the fence. You crawl over me and get out." And then Park stuck himself to the fence. His entire body was now stuck with the fence. His body was absorbing the fence's current. And for a few seconds, the fence's current became temporarily weak. Shin understood that this was his last chance. If he didn't run now, he would never be able to run, and Park's sacrifice would be wasted. So he, with all his strength, ran and crawled over Park's burning body. The fence's barbs pierced into his legs and back. The fence's remaining current burned his body. His thigh and back became completely black. The pain was so much that Shin felt he would faint. But he, gritting his teeth, crossed the fence. And as soon as he fell to the other side, he, for 1 second, looked back. Park's body was still attached to the fence. No sound was coming from him now. He had died. But his sacrifice had given Shin the path to freedom. Chapter 5. Journey Through the Darkness. Shin was now alone in the jungle. He had neither food, nor water, nor any path. Only one thing was in his mind. I have to reach China. He that whole night walked shivering in the cold. His legs were badly burned because of the fence. Every step caused pain, but he didn't stop. The next morning, he reached near a small village. He, in the village outside a house, saw some corn and some vegetables that someone had kept outside to dry. He stole them and ran away. For many days, he, in this way, hiding in the jungle and stealing a little bit of food from villages, stayed alive. Sometimes he would hide under a truck and travel a few kilometers. Sometimes he would walk at night and hide during the day. His condition had become worse than a hungry animal, but he didn't stop. Finally, after several weeks, Shin crossed the border between North Korea and China. This border was a frozen river called the Tumen River. This river was filled with icy water, and crossing it was very dangerous. But Shin didn't care anymore. He jumped into the river and swimming reached the other side. When he set foot on China's land, for the first time he had a strange feeling. He thought, have I really come out? In China, Shin initially had a lot of difficulties. He couldn't speak Chinese. He couldn't ask anyone for help because if anyone understood him as North Korean, they would send him back. But then, after a few days, Shin met a Chinese farmer who gave him a little bit of food. Then, after a few more days, Shin met a Christian missionary who helped North Korean refugees. That missionary's name was Mrs. Park, no relation to the Park who died. Mrs. Park, seeing Shin, understood that he was a North Korean escapee. She hid Shin in her house, got his wounds treated, and then, through underground network, helped Shin first reach Mongolia and from there reach South Korea. Chapter 6. The Reality of the Hermit Kingdom. In 2006, Shin, for the first time in his life, became free. After reaching South Korea, Shin came to know that he was the first and last person in the world who, after being born in a political prison camp, escaped from there and became free. South Korean government asked him a lot of questions. Intelligence agencies debriefed him. Because Shin had the first inside information of Camp 14. Why are there such dangerous rules in North Korea? Friends, to understand this, it is first necessary to understand what dictatorship is. Dictatorship means such a country where only one person or only one family controls everything. There neither is there election, nor freedom of speech, nor human rights. Just one leader and his command. If anyone said anything against this leader, then punishment. Now in North Korea, the Kim family started ruling from 1948. First came Kim Il-sung, the father of Kim Jong-il, who was the leader during Shin's time. And after Kim Jong-il, now Kim Jong-un is ruling. These three generations have made this country a prison. When Kim Il-sung took power, he started teaching the North Korean public that he himself was a god. Yes, friends, you heard right. In North Korea, the Kim family is worshipped like God. In every house, their photo must be hung. If even dust appeared on the photo, then jail. If anyone made a joke about the Kim family, then the whole family to jail. All this was done so that the public would never question. They kept feeling that the Kim family was their master, and they had to follow without question. Now this Yanjwa-je rule, meaning three-generation punishment, this rule was made so that no one would have the courage to think against the government. If today you made a mistake, then your children and grandchildren would also stay in jail for life. In this way, people living in fear remained silent. All this was a weapon to maintain control. In North Korea, you cannot keep hair according to your wish. Government has approved 28 hairstyles, 10 for men and 18 for women. If you kept some other hairstyle, then fine and warning. Undercut or modern style like Kim Jong-un, only the Kim family can keep, not ordinary public. In North Korea, there is absolutely no internet. Only a government-controlled intranet, which is called Kwangmyong. And TV channels are only 3. Korean Central Television, News and Propaganda,
제17차 평양 봄철 국제상품 졸라매가
Monsudae Television, Educational Programs, meaning more propaganda, Ryongnam-san Television, a little entertainment on weekends, but that too government approved. In all of them, praise of Kim family and showing America and South Korea as villains. If from your house a Bible, Quran, or any foreign book was found, then death penalty or jail for life. Watching Hollywood movies? Jail. Watching South Korean dramas? Execution. In 2013, a woman was given public execution just because she had kept a South Korean drama CD. In North Korea, ordinary public cannot go outside their city without government permission. If you want to go from Pyongyang to Wonsan, then first have to take a permit. And going to a foreign country? Impossible for 99.9% of people. Voting is mandatory, but only one candidate. In North Korea, elections happen. But on the ballot paper, there is only one name. You just have to tick on yes. If you didn't vote, then you become suspicious. And then government monitoring starts. If someone committed suicide, family to jail. In North Korea, if someone committed suicide, then government says that this is a protest against the government, and that person's family is sent to jail. Disabled children have to be hidden. In North Korea, disabled people are considered inferior. Government wants the whole country to look perfect. That's why, if in someone's house a disabled child is born, they have to hide them. Many times, government forcibly sends disabled children to special camps where they are not cared for. Chapter 7. Voices that cannot be silenced. Friends, Shin is not alone who tried to escape from North Korea. Till today, 30,000 plus people have escaped from North Korea and reached South Korea. But behind these 30,000, there are thousands of people who died in the attempt to escape. There is one famous case of Yeonmi Park. Yeonmi Park in 2007 escaped from North Korea with her mother. She was only 13 years old at that time. They crossed the frozen river towards China. But in China, human traffickers caught them. Yeonmi and her mother were very badly tortured.
Today, I escaped North Korea. I saw my mother raped. The rapist was a Chinese broker. He targeted me. I was 13 years old.
But later, through Mongolia, they managed to reach South Korea. Today, Yeonmi Park is a famous activist who tells the world the truth about North Korea. There is another famous case of Oh Chong-song. In 2017, Oh Chong-song, who himself was a North Korean soldier, escaped to South Korea through the DMZ, demilitarized zone. During the escape, North Korean soldiers fired at him with 40-plus bullets. He was hit by 5 bullets and became critically injured. South Korean soldiers rescued him and gave him treatment in hospital. Doctors removed parasites from his stomach that were 27 centimeters long. This shows that even North Korean soldiers don't get proper food. Today, Oh Chong-song is safe in South Korea. In 2016, an American college student, Otto Warmbier, went to North Korea with his friends as a tourist. This was an organized tour in which foreign tourists are shown North Korea under strict supervision. Otto Warmbier was a student of University of Virginia, and he was only 21 years old. On 2 January 2016, when Otto was in his hotel in Pyongyang, he tried to take down a political poster that was hung on the hotel wall. This poster was about the Kim family. In CCTV footage, it showed that Otto took down that poster and tried to put it in his bag. The next morning, when Otto was going to the airport to leave North Korea, North Korean police arrested him. North Korean government filed a case against Otto. They accused him that he had done a hostile act against the state. Otto was shown on TV where he crying was asking for apology.
I committed my crime of taking out the important political slogan from the staff-only area of the Angakdo International Hotel.
Please, I have made the worst mistake of my life.
But North Korean government sentenced him to 15 years of hard labor. For 18 months, Otto was kept in North Korean jail. During this period, no one knew what was happening to him. American government was doing negotiations to bring him back. But North Korea was not giving any clear answer. In June 2017, suddenly North Korean government released Otto. But when Otto returned to America, his condition was very bad. He was in a coma. His brain was severely damaged. Doctors said he had neurological injury. North Korean government had claimed that Otto got botulism, a type of infection, and they gave him sleeping pill from which he went into coma. But American doctors found no proof of this. Their statement was that Otto was severely tortured, which caused his brain damage. On 19th June 2017, just 6 days after reaching America, Otto Warmbier died. His family was devastated. Otto's mother said, "North Korea tortured and murdered our son." American government held North Korea responsible and imposed sanctions. This case shows the world how dangerous and ruthless North Korea is. A 21-year-old boy, who was just trying to take down a poster, was given 15 years sentence and death by torture. This is the reality of North Korea. Shin Dong-hyuk today lives in South Korea. He wrote his story in a book called Escape from Camp 14, which became an international bestseller. His story was shown in documentaries. He has also given speech in the UN, United Nations, where he told the world what is happening inside North Korea. If there are so many problems in North Korea, then why don't all people escape? The answer is, border security is very tight. At North Korea's border, there are electric fences, landmines, and armed guards. Towards China, crossing the Tumen River is very dangerous. Towards South Korea, there is DMZ, Demilitarized Zone, which is the world's most dangerous border. There are landmines there and shoot-on-sight orders. Punishment is so severe that people are scared. If you are caught trying to escape, then not only you, your entire family will be sent to jail for 3 generations. Meaning, if you escape and are caught, then your children and children's children will also go to jail. Because of this fear, people don't even think about escaping. Brainwashing happens from childhood. In North Korea, from childhood itself, people are brainwashed. They are taught, Kim family is God. The outside world is very bad. America and South Korea are enemies. North Korea is heaven. Because of this propaganda, many people don't even think that the outside world could be better. If you escape, then your family will be tortured or sent to jail. That's why many people don't escape, because they don't want to put their family in danger. Now the question is, what action is the international community taking against North Korea? The UN has imposed many sanctions on North Korea. Trade restrictions, financial sanctions, travel bans on senior officials. But these sanctions are not having much effect because China and Russia support North Korea. In 2014, the UN Human Rights Council published a report in which they said, "In North Korea, crimes against humanity are happening which are equal to the crimes of Nazi Germany's time." In this report, details of torture, executions, forced labor, and starvation were given. But action is still limited. South Korea and America give asylum to North Korean refugees. In South Korea, there is a Hanawon Center where North Korean defectors are given rehabilitation and training so that they can adjust in South Korean society. But this is on a limited scale. Under Kim Jong-un's control, change in North Korea seems very difficult, because the Kim family does not accept giving up their power. But history tells that dictatorships sooner or later fall. Soviet Union was also very powerful at one time, but in 1991 it collapsed. In East Germany too, the Berlin Wall fell and people became free. So there is hope that one day North Korea's people will also be free. Friends, Shin Dong-hyuk's story teaches us how important freedom is. We who are free, we who can do whatever we want, we who can eat whatever we want, we who can see our dreams. All this is a blessing that millions of people don't have. In North Korea, even today, millions of people are imprisoned in such camps where there is no humanity. Children are born and remain imprisoned for life without any crime. Women are raped, men are tortured, and families are punished for generations. This is the reality of the 21st century. Friends, this was the complete story of Shin Dong-hyuk. If you liked this documentary, then definitely like, share, and subscribe. And tell in the comments what you thought. God bless.